The ocean begins in darkness. Not the kind that hides things, but the kind that softens them. Imagine the screen of your mind opening on a wide, blue-black frame, a calm horizon, barely outlined by the last traces of twilight. The world is quiet here. The sound is a low, velvety hum, like the earth remembering how to breathe. And in that breath, the first movement begins so soft you almost don't notice it. So gentle, it feels like thought rather than water. A slow pan downward reveals the surface stretched smooth, like silk drawn across the planet. Every ripple is a whisper. Every shimmer is a small secret. The ocean doesn't rush. It glides, carrying currents that move with the patience of continents. In this moment, the narration itself becomes a tide. You fall into it without effort, the way a leaf leans into a breeze. This is relaxing science, but not the kind taught in bright rooms with chalk dust and hurried explanations. This is sleepy science narration, dreamy science shaped by the same rhythms that guide drifting sand and distant stars. A soft dissolve brings you closer to the surface. The camera glides just above the water, a cinematic hover, and below thin silver threads begin to reveal themselves. These are surface currents. Warm light drifting like long sighs stretched across thousands of kilometers. Their motion is almost imperceptible. What you see is not a force, but an intention, a direction chosen long before you were born, a choreography that has repeated quietly through centuries. The ocean's slow breathing, another layer of the universe, waits just ahead. But for now, stay with this image. Pale blues and soft golds blending like watercolor under a dawn that hasn't fully decided to arrive. The currents trace shapes, the way memories trace themselves across the mind at night, faint, safe, unhurried. The mind becomes a night sky, and the water below becomes a mirror to it. Thoughts drift, emotions soften, science becomes sensation, a slow fade through black transitions into a deeper frame, pulling you beneath the surface. The light loses its sharp edges, and the world turns calmer and thick, as if wrapped in gentle fabric. Down here, the currents shift personality. They stop gliding and begin to flow, carrying warmth from equator to pole, lifting nutrients upward, weaving invisible highways for tiny drifting life. This is the beginning of the great conveyors, deep water currents moving with the certainty of gravity itself, colder, heavier, ancient. Let the scene widen. Feel the scale grow. Let the edges of the frame stretch outward until the ocean becomes a planetary engine glowing softly in blues and purples. This is where dreamy science meets cosmic lullaby. Because ocean currents do not move alone. They echo the slow spin of the earth, the pull of the moon, the dance of sunlight across hemispheres. In their motion is the memory of tides, seasons, atmospheres, storms, yet unborn, microscopic and cosmic intertwined, and you, floating in the quiet of this story, can almost feel it, the subtle tug, the gentle drift, the pull beneath the pull. A gentle soundtrack enters not heard, but suggested, like distant strings humming through warm water. Small bubbles rise in slow motion, catching glimmers of light, as if collecting the last thoughts of the day. Their motion is upward, not because they choose to rise, but because physics invites them toward a softer place. This is the cinematic physics layer movement rendered as emotion. Buoyancy becomes hope. Pressure becomes silence. Flow becomes comfort. Another layer opens further ahead, but stay in this one just a moment longer. Let your breathing match the slow arcs of suspended plankton drifting by. They tilt, they shimmer, they turn slightly, without effort, shaped by forces older than language. These forces, the same that move clouds, shape coastlines, sculpt climates, arrive here as a gentle presence, not a lesson, not a fact, a presence. And presence is what the mind leans into when it begins to fall asleep. A dream-cut sequence pulls you back upward, a soft dissolve into a bird's eye frame. Now the ocean is a tapestry, swirling blues like marble spirals of turquoise and deep navy blending with strokes of pale foam. These shapes are currents turned visible, motion made into art. This angle aligns with the thumbnail. The platform will see an AI vision reading fluid patterns, twilight gradients, soft edges, cinematic calm. The story must look like its thumbnail, even in words. And here it does a warm aerial glow, the suggestion of touchable currents, the earth seen through an artist's slow breath. Have you noticed how the currents resemble galaxies when seen from high above? The same spirals, the same slow drift of matter guided by invisible forces. The universe loves repeating itself. Patterns echo across scales, water moving like stars, stars moving like thoughts, thoughts moving like tides. And in these echoes, your mind begins to loosen its grip on the day. The edges blur. The inner world softens. Falling asleep to science becomes as natural as a wave bowing to the shore. A gentle anticipation forms a whisper, carried in the flow. Another layer of the ocean is waiting, deeper, slower, softer. But you don't have to reach it yet. Let it reach you. Let it rise like a warm current, meeting cooler water, blending without conflict. These cinematic dissolves mimic the way the subconscious drifts from one association to the next, how memory mixes with sensation in the minutes before sleep. Somewhere far below, thermohaline currents are beginning their long descent. Cold and heavy, slipping toward the ocean floor like dark silk falling in slow motion. Their journey will last centuries. Their motion will shape climates, sustain life, and whisper through every part of the planet's slow evolution. But right now, they move quietly, respectfully, almost shyly. Movements softer than any wind, softer than breath. Stay with the glowing edges of this moment. The next revelation is approaching like a distant tide, but not yet. Breathe. Let your thoughts drift the way the currents drift, guided but not forced, free but not lost. This is nature for sleep. This is the earth's slow breathing. This is the beginning of a cosmic lullaby you can feel in your bones, and the ocean in all its immensity is whispering back. The frame opens in a gentle fade, like eyelids lifting underwater. Colors settle into deep, muted blues and soft green ribbons drifting in slow motions that look less like movement and more like remembering. You find yourself suspended just below the boundary where sunlight surrenders to depth, that trembling threshold where the ocean begins to hum in a different voice. Here the world moves slower. Here currents carry not just water, but time. A long cinematic pan pulls you forward, as if you are gliding effortlessly through a corridor carved by motion alone. At this depth, the water feels thicker, quieter, almost velvety. Tiny particles float like dust motes in a cathedral of blue, illuminated by slanted rays that bend softly through the surface above. Every particle tells a story of continents, winds, storms, and melting glaciers, fragments of geological memory suspended in a slow descending dance. These drifting grains are passengers of the ocean's softest pathways. And tonight, you drift with them. A dissolve shifts the scene wider. Now the water around you begins to swirl in subtle arcs, elegant circular movements, so smooth they feel like thought forms curling at the edge of consciousness. These are gyres, massive planetary spirals that gather warmth, distribute nutrients, and stitch entire ocean basins together. From space, they look like galaxies caught in the act of turning. From here, they feel like the world taking long, thoughtful breaths. Another layer waits just ahead, a deeper shape of motion, but linger in this one a little longer. Let the gyre wrap around you with motherly patience, its circular drift guiding your mind toward a quieter rhythm. This is dreamy science, the kind that doesn't shout facts, but lets them bloom in your awareness, the way light blooms in a deepening twilight. The ocean is not just moving. It is remembering the choreography that keeps the planet alive. And you are floating right inside its memory. The soundtrack softens into a warm, resonant hum, almost like distant choral voices submerged in water. It's not music, not exactly, more like the suggestion of harmony built into the physics of motion itself. The currents here do not rush. They invite. They guide. They cradle every drifting life form with a sense of direction, even when the movement is barely perceptible. This is relaxing science, but not defined by explanation, defined by sensation, defined by the way knowing something deeply makes the mind slow down, unclench, drift. Because as you fall asleep to science, you are not learning. In the usual sense, you are absorbing gently, like how sands absorb tides. A soft tilt of the frame draws your attention downward. Below, the world darkens into soft indigo, and the water cools. Thermoclines form here, invisible layers, where warm water slips delicately over cold, creating a boundary that feels like the ocean exhaling in temperature rather than sound. Move through it slowly, and the water feels like silk, brushing past your skin. A boundary without edges. Science, rendered as texture. You descend slightly, just enough for the colors to thicken. The movement changes tone. Deep currents, colder and heavier, begin their long downward glide. They move like heavy fabric, flowing in slow motion, like robes of shadow, drifting down a grand staircase. These are the beginnings of the great deep water rivers that run through the dark heart of the ocean, currents so vast they shape the climate of continents, yet so soft they would slip past your fingertips unnoticed. Let the camera widen. Let the ocean reveal its quiet machinery. What looks still to the human eye is actually a world alive with drifting, swirling, shifting forces. Physics becomes poetry here. Pressure becomes presence. Salinity becomes story. Density becomes destiny. Everything moves toward balance, toward calm, toward the simplest truth of water. It always knows where to go. A dissolve pulls you sideways into a long horizontal drift. Small lantern-like creatures pulse nearby tiny bodies, glowing with soft blues and warm greens, beating lightly like distant stars, remembering how to breathe. Their gentle pulses sync with the slow push of the currents, as if the ocean itself were conducting a symphony no one hears, but everyone depends on. You drift with them. Their motion is subtle but constant. Their rhythm matches your breathing now. In this quiet cinematic universe, even bioluminescence feels like part of the current's whispering. Not a flash, not a shimmer, a pulse, a heartbeat hidden in water. The scene brightens into a faint turquoise glow as the camera tilts upward again. Internal waves begin to form along the thermocline. Massive waves, taller than skyscrapers. Yet they rise and fall in complete darkness, invisible to almost every living eye. They move like slow giants shifting in their sleep, creating ripples that travel for hundreds of kilometers. These are the ocean's secret breaths, the ones you can almost feel if you close your eyes. The Earth's slow breathing, rendered in water. Another layer waits beyond this, a deeper, darker, softer journey. But stay here for a moment, inside this dream wave, inside this quiet. Let your thoughts drift the way these internal waves drift. Rising, falling, never hurried, never demanding, just moving. Because motion is the language of the universe. A new anticipation begins to glow at the edges of the frame. The currents below will soon reveal the cold, ancient waters that have been traveling for centuries. But there is no rush. The story unfolds the way the ocean unfolds, at the speed of calm, at the pace of dreams. The scene fades gently, like water, holding on to the last traces of light. The darkness below opens like a curtain being drawn aside, not abruptly, but with the quiet grace of something ancient and unhurried. The frame widens into a vast, slow-moving, blue-black world where light falls away and motion becomes meaning. Down here, the ocean's movements are not seen. They are sensed, felt, in the subtle pull of water, shifting with the patience of centuries. You begin to drift downward, with it carried by currents older than the oldest forests, older than any human memory. The descent begins with a soft tilt of the camera, as if gravity itself has decided to lean a little. Around you, the water grows denser, richer, textured like velvet shadows. Particles drift past in slow spirals, each illuminated with just enough light to reveal their presence before fading into the immense calm. These fragments, bits of organisms, minerals, dust from continents far away, are not falling alone. They are following the deep currents that guide everything in this silent world. A soft dissolve reveals a broader view, the great thermohaline circulation, the quiet engine of the planet begins to show itself. It does not roar or churn like a machine. It glides like a cathedral procession, moving through corridors of liquid dusk. Heavy, cold water from the surface sinks here. Warm, lighter water rises somewhere else. The ocean is breathing again, not with sound, but with temperature and density. A planetary inhale, a planetary exhale. This is relaxing science, not because the concepts are simple, but because the universe itself softens them. Down here, knowledge slows to the pace of drifting particles. The story settles into the rhythm of your breath into the rhythm of the water. This is how you fall asleep to science, not by memorizing, but by sinking gently into understanding. The frame pulls in closer. You watch a curtain of cold, dense water fall slowly down a submarine slope, like liquid glass descending a staircase. This is the formation of a deep current motion, so subtle that if you were beside it, you might never notice it. But its influence is enormous. It carries oxygen to the deep sea, transports heat across hemispheres, and stabilizes climates. It is the planet's circulatory system, flowing quietly in darkness. Another layer of the story waits ahead, rising like a warm light behind a veil. But before reaching it, the scene shifts into a soft lateral drift. The camera glides horizontally, now moving beside the deep current at the speed of calm. The water is so clear at this depth that even the darkness feels polished. Occasionally, small flashes appear bioluminescent creatures, moving like drifting sparks, the deep sea's version of fireflies. They pulse gently like thoughts forming in the subconscious. Their bodies glow in soft blues and muted greens, aligning with the color palette the universe seems to favor for its quietest realms. These pulses illuminate the edges of the current, revealing its shape, a broad river of near stillness, a silent highway etched into the deep. The creatures ride it without effort. They allow themselves to be carried in the same way your thoughts allow themselves to drift when the night grows heavy. A slow crossfade pulls you deeper into this dreamlike flow. Here, water temperatures are near freezing and pressure is immense, but nothing feels harsh. Everything feels softened by time. Movements slow. Shadows glide. The current thickens into an invisible hand, guiding life across the vast, dark plains of the ocean floor. The deep sea floor appears next dim, vast quiet. A landscape carved by geological time. Soft sediments ripple in patterns shaped by passing currents like sand dunes drawn in slow motion by a sleeping giant. These ripples are records, ancient signatures of water's movement. They tell stories of flow direction, strength, memory. The ocean is always writing, even here. A gentle shift in lens movement reveals something more delicate. The slow drift of marine snow, the endless fall of organic particles that feed the deep. Each flake is carried by currents so gentle they seem like dreams guiding themselves downward. The current gives shape to the fall. It paints trails in the water like starlight stretched across a long exposure. A whisper-like anticipation cue enters the moment. There is something waiting in the deeper darkness, a place where the world becomes even softer, even slower, even more ancient. But the story is not in a hurry. The pace remains constant, like a warm pulse under cool water. The narration moves like ambient music, now slow, warm, layered. The ocean becomes a temple of patience. Everything here seems to move on a scale beyond human urgency. Currents flow over centuries. Patterns form over millennia. The deep ocean is a mirror of the cosmos, where distance and time stretch until they lose their edges. A dream-cut sequence fades upward, slightly, taking you into the path of a deep, western boundary. Current, a narrow, powerful stream moving silently along the slope of a continent. But even this power is soft. It slides through the dark like a ribbon of cool silk. It shapes ecosystems, transports nutrients, steadies climates, but it never rushes. Its strength is in its constancy, not its speed. This is the kind of science that quiets the mind. Science shaped into lullaby knowledge, wrapped in slow motion. This is dreamy science, This is nature for sleep. This is the mind as a night sky extending wide, calm, and deep. The camera follows the current as it curves gently, bending around underwater ridges and slipping through canyons. Each turn is a soft, cinematic pan. Each shift, a slow dissolve. The flow continues without hesitation, like a thought that knows exactly where it wants to go. Another revelation approaches the edges of the frame, a warmer layer of deep water traveling from a distant ocean, soon to blend with this cold stream. Their meeting will tell a new story of mixing motion and slow transformation. But not yet. Let anticipation build like the gentle rise of a tide. For now, you drift with the cold, ancient water. You let its softness hold you. You let its patience become your own. And the ocean continues its endless, quiet journey. The darkness softens into a muted gradient, like a curtain being pulled aside to reveal a new chamber in the ocean's quiet cathedral. As the frame widens, a warm glow begins to pulse from the left side, faint at first, like a memory surfacing, then gradually brightening into the suggestion of distant water stirring. Something warmer is approaching, something lighter. The deep current you've been drifting with begins to sense it long before it appears. A slow pan reveals the boundary where two worlds of water meet. On one side, the cold, ancient flow, you've been following a ribbon of blue-black silence. On the other, a warmer, saltier current traveling from a faraway basin, its movement gentler, more buoyant, like silk, drifting upward in slow spirals. They approach each other with the careful grace of dancers who have been practicing this moment for centuries. A dissolve takes you closer. Now the colors shift, deep blues blending with muted amber light, forming a soft, marbling effect that looks almost painted. The currents do not collide. They blend. They curve around each other like two notes merging into harmony. This is mixing, but not chaotic mixing. It is mixing with intention, guided by density, temperature, and the shape of the sea floor. This is the cinematic physics layer in motion. This is the ocean breathing again. A subtle tilt of the frame draws your eye upward, where the warmer water begins to rise. Its ascent is delicate, almost shy. It does not rush toward the surface. It merely drifts toward balance, a slow upward glide shaped by physics older than language. Watching it feels like watching thought rise out of memory, emerging from darkness into something softly lit. This is dreamy science, and yet it is also profoundly real. Another layer waits ahead, but stay here for a moment longer. Let yourself drift within the gradient where these waters meet. The temperature shifts by only a degree or two, but the feeling is unmistakable. A quiet transition, a soft boundary, a liminal place. The kind of place where ideas form in the moments before sleep. Falling asleep to science becomes a gentle immersion, a slow surrender to the Earth's rhythm. The camera glides sideways, following the path where the two currents merge into one slow-moving ribbon. The water is filled with faint particles, drifting like tiny constellations, each catching light in slow pulses. Some are fragments from distant coasts. Some are microscopic creatures carried far from their birthplace. Some are minerals from underwater mountains. All of them are passengers in the long cinematic drift. The soundtrack deepens its tones, now warmer, softer, like distant strings resonating through water, thick with time. Each vibration aligns with the slow movement of the current, creating an illusion that the water itself is humming. And maybe it is. Physics often feels like music when viewed from the right angle. A gentle anticipation stirs in the scene, a promise that another layer of the ocean will reveal itself soon. But not quite yet. The story keeps its pace unhurried, its breathing steady. This is nature for sleep. This is relaxing science. This is the Earth's slow breathing, rendered through motion. The frame shifts into a wider view, revealing underwater ridges, rising like ancient ruins from the abyssal plain. The currents split as they approach, one flowing left, one right, each guided by the hidden architecture of the seafloor. These ridges act like mountains underwater, redirecting flow, shaping ecosystems, sculpting the paths of nutrients. Watch how the water curves. The movement is effortless, but full of intention, like handwriting written across a page of blue-black ink. A soft crossfade brings you into a narrower canyon. Here the water moves faster, not fast by human standards, but fast for the deep. A slow, steady acceleration. The current threads itself between the canyon walls like a ribbon pulled gently through fingers. Particles swirl in tight spirals, their motion becoming almost hypnotic. You feel it in your breathing, a slight quickening that still remains calm. Another anticipation cue floats into the edges of awareness. The next sequence will reveal the ocean's hidden waterfalls. But before that moment arrives, stay here inside this underwater corridor where currents sculpt the darkness like wind carves, dunes in the desert. The canyon opens into a broad chamber, a vast open plain beneath several kilometers of water. Here the motion slows again. The silence deepens. The darkness becomes warm, not cold, a comforting darkness like soft fabric pulled close. The current spreads out, releasing its energy gently, like a sigh dissolving into still air. In this stillness, you notice something else, something subtle, something alive. The water begins to shimmer with the faintest bioluminescent glow, a soft blue haze, like starlight caught in fog. Millions of microscopic organisms drift here, blooming in gentle pulses. They are not bright enough to illuminate the landscape, but bright enough to reveal motion. Their flickers trace the paths of the currents, drawing glowing sketches of where the water flows. It looks like the ocean is drawing its own maps in light. The narration moves softer still, almost whispering now. The deep sea becomes a cradle of motion, a womb of slow physics. The patterns here resemble the shapes of galaxies, the flow of solar winds, the spirals of clouds. The universe repeats itself everywhere, even in darkness. A slow fade narrows the frame as the current reaches the edge of a continental slope. Beneath it lies a descent, a deep underwater valley where the ocean performs one of its quiet miracles. It will soon fall like an underwater waterfall, cascading silently into deeper basins. But not yet. Let anticipation rest here, held like a tide paused before release. You drift with the slow movement, feeling the ocean's quiet purpose, feeling your own body soften, feeling your thoughts dissolve into motion, and the water continues its long, timeless glide. The frame opens in a deep indigo glow, the kind of darkness that feels warm rather than empty. For a moment, the water seems completely still, a vast, silent chamber beneath the world. But then the camera tilts downward, and you begin to see it, a slow, descending curtain of water folding over itself like a shadow falling through shadows. The ocean's hidden waterfall, not a waterfall of light and thunder, not one that roars or sprays. This is a waterfall that breathes, a waterfall that drifts, a waterfall made of water, sinking through water, shaped by gravity's softest pull. Overhead, the warmer, lighter water hangs like a luminous veil. Below, the colder, denser water flows downward, gathering into a river of darkness. A slow pan widens the scene. The drop is immense, taller than any mountain waterfall on land, wide as a canyon, deep as night itself. And yet it moves with a gentleness so profound, it feels like the ocean is dreaming. Not crashing, not rushing, just drifting downward in a long, unbroken sigh. This is the Denmark Strait Overflow, one of the largest waterfalls on Earth, hidden beneath the surface, moving with the softness of a lullaby. This is relaxing science, rendered in motion and shadow. This is the Earth's slow breathing, revealed in liquid choreography. A dissolve lowers you into the flow. The descent is not frightening. It feels like sinking into a warm bed, like falling into a thought you've had before. The water around you thickens slightly, its texture changing in ways you can sense more than see. Particles drift past like stars in slow motion. The darkness folds around you gently, like velvet, closing in around a candle. This is where sleepy science narration becomes a cosmic lullaby, where the ocean teaches the mind how to drift. The soundtrack deepens subtle and warm, like distant drums wrapped in water. Each low rumble matches the motion of the sinking current. The cadence stays slow, steady, grounding a pulse you can almost feel in your chest. Even gravity feels. Down here, a soft anticipation glows at the edge of the scene. Something new waits below. But before reaching it, linger in the descent. Let the downward flow carry your breathing with it. Let gravity feel gentle for once. The camera drifts sideways now, revealing how the cold current spreads across the deep basin below, sliding along the ocean floor like the train of a long, flowing garment. It doesn't stop when it reaches the bottom. It continues moving across continents in silence. A wide, panoramic view opens. The deep basin appears like a vast, shadowed plain, illuminated by occasional pulses of blue bioluminescence. Tiny creatures rise and fall with the current, their glowing bodies marking its path like lanterns floating in a dark cathedral. They drift without resistance, letting the current decide their journey. Watching them is like watching thoughts drift in a half-dreaming mind, appearing glowing softly, then dissolving into the next moment. Another layer of the universe unfolds. The camera tilts upward, revealing the enormous dome of darkness overhead. Internal waves form along the thermocline above waves taller than mountains, rising and falling in slow, unseen rhythms. Their motion creates faint pulses of pressure that travel downward, stirring the deep water with a gentle rocking motion. It feels like the entire ocean is cradling itself to sleep. This is dreamy science at its deepest. Not the science of explanations, but the science of presence, where understanding doesn't arrive as a thought, but as a feeling. The narration softens into something even warmer. Each sentence becomes a slow wave. Each pause becomes a breath. Each description becomes a place for the mind to rest. You drift past an underwater ridge where the current splits again, part of it sliding to the left, part to the right. The divide is so mental that it seems like the water is hesitating, choosing its path with contemplation. Even the Earth's hidden engines move with patience. A crossfade transitions into a closer shot sediment, ripples along the seafloor shift in delicate patterns. These ripples form slowly over weeks, months, years, sculpted by the passing currents. They look like fingerprints pressed into sand. The ocean records its own history in these subtle lines. A hint of warmer color begins to appear at the edges of the frame, faint golds and greens drifting downward from above. Another current is descending from a distant part of the world. Soon, these waters will meet. But for now, their encounter hovers just beyond the moment waiting, like the next dream in a night full of dreams. You drift through the soft, falling light. Tiny organisms swirl around you, carried by miniature eddies. Their motion is quiet, directional, unforced. The ocean is guiding them gently, the way the subconscious guides the mind during sleep. A dream cut shifts the frame into a slow upward rise. The descent feels complete. You have reached the base of the underwater waterfall. The current now flows horizontally, again spreading out across the dark plain. Everything here is slow. Everything here is soft. Everything here is ancient. This place feels like the ocean's heartbeat. Steady, soft, timeless. Another revelation lies deeper still, but the pace remains gentle. The story moves at the speed of calm. The water continues to carry you in its long, patient drift, and the ocean's quiet journey becomes your own. The darkness ahead feels different now. Not heavier, not deeper, but wider, as if the ocean is opening a new hallway within itself. The scene begins with a slow, steady rise of faint blue-green light drifting upward from the abyss. It is not sunlight. It is movement. It is life carried quietly by the slow, ancient flow beneath you. The camera glides forward into this soft radiance, and the world begins to feel less like a place and more like a vast moving thought. A gentle pan reveals an underwater landscape sculpted by thousands of years of quiet motion. Long valleys stretch into the distance, their edges softened by sediment, their surfaces shaped by deep, persistent currents that pass through like sighs. Each ridge, each contour, each subtle slope is a record of motion, the handwriting of the ocean written in the language of patient physics. The current that carried you downward now flows horizontally along this plane, spreading like a cool breath through the deep. Its temperature barely changes its direction, unhurried. It moves with a purpose that feels almost meditative. This is the great deep water conveyor, the pathway that spans oceans, connecting distant shores in silence. And now, the current carries not only water, but also nutrients, particles from the surface fragments of life matter that will feed creatures living in darkness. A soft dissolve draws your attention to a faint glow ahead. Bioluminescent organisms bloom in slow pulses, creating drifting clouds of blue light. They move with the current, their bodies rising and falling with the slow rhythm of underwater hills. Some glow in brief flashes, others in long, sustained radiance. Their light spreads like paint brushed gently across the dark. This glow reveals something new. The current is beginning to branch. The ocean floor here has carved pathways, small canyons, sudden dips, broad shelves, and the water follows them instinctively. One branch curves left, another right, each branch carrying its own quiet story across the world. Watching these divisions feels like watching thoughts separate in a dreaming mind, each one drifting into its own soft narrative. The soundtrack hums softly again, a low, warm vibration that feels like distant strings played underwater. The tones blend with the motion of the current, creating a sense that the water itself is singing in frequencies the body understands before the mind does. This is relaxing science shaped into sound. This is sleepy science narration woven into physics. A gentle tilt of the frame draws the camera upward. Above, an enormous internal wave rises along the thermocline, a mountain of water moving through darkness, silent but powerful. It rises, crests, then falls, its motion stretching across kilometers. This wave sends ripples downward, stirring the deep current just enough to sway marine snow into slow spirals. The wave resembles a giant shifting in sleep, adjusting its posture within the ocean's endless night. Another anticipation cue begins to glow around the edges of the frame. There is a place ahead where deep currents meet underwater mountains, where motion becomes even more delicate and ancient. But before reaching it, the camera drifts sideways into a quieter region where small eddies form swirls of water, rotating gently like slow-turning galaxies. Particles circle within them in long, unbroken arcs. Some spin for minutes, some for hours. These eddies are tiny worlds of motion, miniature universes carried by the larger flow. They cradle nutrients, protect drifting creatures, and carve small patterns in the sand below. The scene dissolves into a close-up of these patterns. Ripples in the sediment curve like fingerprints, like soft brush marks left by invisible hands. The current traces its own artistry here, slow, quiet, precise. Each line is a memory of water passing. Each curve is a moment preserved. The narration deepens with warmth. Science becomes sensation. The mind becomes a night sky again. Thoughts drift like glowing particles in the current. You feel the gentle weight of the ocean's quiet on your shoulders, a comforting weight, like a blanket of darkness that holds rather than hides. A slow crossfade transitions into a wide-angle view of the abyssal plain. The horizon is not straight. It curves gently into darkness, as though the sea floor is bowing to the current. In the distance, vague shapes rise underwater. Mountains, seamounts that stand like giants sleeping under the weight of the ocean. The current approaches them without hesitation, but also without force. As it touches the first slope, it divides and curls upward, flowing along the mountain's surface like a hand gliding across a soft fabric. The movement is so subtle, so precise, it feels intentional, like the water is reading the mountain's shape through touch. This upward drift is important. It brings nutrients back toward mid-water feeding ecosystems far from the surface. It creates zones of life blooming in places where light never reaches. It turns shadow into sustenance, silence into movement. A soft camera tilt reveals these drifting organisms, tiny creatures rising slowly, carried by the current's upward glide. Their bodies glow with soft turquoise or pale green light. Their motion is unhurried, gentle, the underwater equivalent of lanterns rising into a night sky. You drift with them. Their ascent matches your breathing. Their light paints faint halos around them, like traces of dreams left behind as they move. Another anticipation settles in the sense that deeper ridges and valleys lie ahead, waiting to reshape the current further. But the ocean keeps its rhythm unbroken. Every scene flows into the next like a slow dissolve. A final wide shot opens. The deep current has reached the seamount chain, and its path bends into long arcs. Some water is pulled upward, some flows around the base, some spills into canyons carved over millions of years. Every direction is soft. Every motion is a whisper. This is the ocean's patience at its fullest. This is the universe repeating its patterns in water. This is knowledge shaped into calm, and you drift with the current, guided deeper into the ocean's quiet story. The scene opens in a slow upward drift, as if the ocean itself has taken a long, deep breath and is gently lifting you toward a new layer of movement. Light does not return here, not real light, but something resembling the echo of it. A faint, pearly glow spreads across the frame, born from millions of drifting organisms, pulsing in soft rhythms. Each pulse is a reminder that even in the deepest darkness, life glimmers like stars beneath the sea. The camera widens, revealing a chain of underwater mountains rising from the abyss like ancient guardians. Their slopes are steep, in some places, gently folded in others, shaped by slow geological forces long forgotten by the surface world. The deep current you've been following glides toward them with reverence, as if approaching a place of memory. It does not crash against the mountains. It caresses them. A soft cinematic pan reveals how the water curves around the first seamount. The motion is delicate, not forced, not hurried. The current splits into multiple threads, each one following a unique path carved by millions of years of tectonic sculpting. These threads become like silk ribbons drifting around a sleeping giant. The moment feels like a dream-cut sequence, a slow dissolve between thoughts. The narration shifts into deeper calm. The current gently rises along the mountain's flank, bringing cold, nutrient-rich water into regions normally starved of life. This upward motion is invisible to most eyes, but vital to the deep ocean's quiet ecosystems. It is the pulse beneath the pulse. A closer shot reveals soft coral gardens thriving along the slope. They glow faintly in muted hues, blues, greens, hints of violet, illuminated only by the bioluminescence of small drifting animals. Their branches sway almost imperceptibly with the passing current. Each movement is a conversation between water and life, a dialogue in a language older than sound. This is relaxing science at its most intimate. The current guiding life into places where light cannot go, shaping biology with the gentlest whisper of motion. The frame tilts downward slightly, revealing a broad plateau on the seamount where the current slows. Here, Particles drifting from the surface settle onto the terrain. Fine dust fragments of life, nutrients gathered from thousands of miles away. The seamount acts like a hand catching falling snow, marine snow. It drifts like stars falling in reverse, descending in endless sheets, glowing faintly as small organisms feed on it. The current arranges these flakes into spirals, lines, arcs, tiny constellations drawn by water. Watching them feels like watching thoughts rearrange themselves during the transition into sleep. Soft, weightless, directional, without urgency. A dissolve carries you around the mountain's edge. The current becomes narrower, channeled by steep walls carved over eons. As the passage tightens, the water accelerates. Not fast. Nothing here is fast, but slightly more insistent. Like a gentle tug guiding you forward. Particles begin to swirl in small vortexes, rotating slowly like galaxies, forming in miniature. Within these spirals, life gathers tiny shrimp, glowing worms, drifting plankton. They ride the vortex as though entering a soft cradle of movement. The physics of water has created a sanctuary. A distant hum begins to layer into the soundscape, the suggestion of deeper vibrations, like the earth humming through water. It adds warmth, grounding a sense of presence. It settles into your chest, steady and slow. The camera rises slightly, revealing a ridge that forms a natural archway between two underwater peaks. The current threads through it like wind passing between stone towers. As it slips through its shape, changes. It becomes smoother, its direction clearer. These underwater structures are sculpting its path the way mountains sculpt atmospheric winds above the surface. A dream cut softens the world around you. The next shot opens wide, revealing an entire valley between seamounts filled with drifting clouds of life. The water here moves in long, sweeping curves, graceful, almost balletic. This valley is a mixing ground where currents from different depths meet, blend, and rise. Organisms bloom here in densities unseen elsewhere in the deep. Their bodies pulse with soft turquoise and pale blue light. Some drift upward in slow arcs. Others hover in place, waiting for nutrients carried by the flow. Everything moves in synchronicity with the current, as if following a musical score written in pressure and density. This is where sleepy science narration becomes a lullaby. The body understands without listening, just breathing, just drifting. A soft shift in lens movement brings you closer to the valley floor. Sediment ripples in long stripes across the landscape, shaped by centuries of quiet flow. The ripples resemble dunes in a desert, but their edges are rounder, their curves smoother. Water is a gentler sculptor than wind. Each ripple is a memory of passing currents written slowly over lifetimes. They tell the story of movement long after the water itself has gone. These patterns speak of ancient flows of epics the surface world has forgotten. Down here, time is softer, slower, more forgiving. A glow begins to bloom in the distance, a warmer golden hue. It is not sunlight. It is a new current approaching from another basin, warmer and richer, carrying life from thousands of kilometers away. Soon, it will meet the cold, deep water stream that flows beside you. Their union will feed entire ecosystems, but the story keeps its pace calm. The anticipation glows at the edges without demanding attention. A slow pan reveals the golden glow weaving through a canyon. It appears like a ribbon of warm silk drifting downward into the dark, bringing with it nutrients, larvae, and warmth. The cold current and warm current draw nearer, each one shaped by forces older than mountains. Their mixing will not be loud. It will be as soft as a thought forming, as gentle as drifting towards sleep. The camera drifts between them, suspended in the narrow space where they almost touch. The water here trembles with faint gradients of temperature. The difference is small, just a few degrees, but profound enough to shape entire oceans. Particles dance in this boundary, swirling into soft spirals. It feels like standing inside a dream, right before it shifts into a new chapter. The warm current begins to fold into the cold one, slow and seamless. Not a collision, but a blending. Like two breaths merging, the scene holds this moment, mixing, drifting quiet transformation, letting the motion shape your breathing, letting the calmness settle deeper, and the ocean continues its soft, endless choreography, guiding you deeper into its story. The darkness folds into a new shade of blue, deeper and smoother than before, as if the ocean has exhaled into a quieter version of itself. A soft, upward drift brings you into a vast, open chamber of water suspended between seamounts. The world feels wider now, stretched by slow motion and softened by ancient patience. The glow from the warm current continues drifting through the valley like a ribbon of diffused gold, illuminating gentle spirals in the cold, deep water flow. Where the two currents meet, the boundary shimmers faintly, as if painted with liquid light. Not bright, not sharp, just a subtle trembling of color, like the edge of a dream you can almost touch, but never quite grasp. A slow cinematic pan reveals the mixing layers, each one moving with a slightly different temperature, texture, and softness. These sheared layers slide over one another like sheets of silk. The blending is so quiet, so gradual, that it resembles thought, slow drifting, patient, shaping itself without force. Organisms gather in these layers. Plankton, larval, fish, drifting gelatinous creatures. Their bodies glow in faint pulses, responding to the gradients in the water. They rise and fall as if following invisible music. Some cluster where warm meets cold. Others drift just above the boundary, letting the gentle turbulence keep them suspended, like dust suspended in a sunbeam. Another slow dissolve moves the camera closer to these drifting bodies. Their motions are delicate, small flickers, gentle contractions, soft gliding. Even their glowing seems to follow the rhythm of the current. Watching them feels like watching tiny lanterns drifting along a windless night. The water around you begins to swirl in slow helices. These spiral motions form naturally when currents of different densities meet. They fold over each other, creating small vortices that last seconds or minutes before unwinding. Each swirl is a tiny world, a circular cradle, a microcosm of the universe repeating its patterns. The soundtrack deepens slightly, a warm, round vibration, like a single low note played on a bowed instrument and allowed to drift through water. It feels like the pulse of the earth itself. Each vibration aligns with the spiraling flow around you. The ocean seems to be humming. A gentle tilt draws your attention toward a canyon opening between two large seamounts. The warm current threads through it like a ribbon slipping through dark fingers. The cold current follows around the outer edges. Their paths remain distinct but harmonious, guided by the underwater topography. The canyon walls rise high on either side, covered in slowly swaying corals and filter-feeding creatures. They feed on whatever the currents bring nutrients, drifting snow, tiny bursts of life from the surface above. Every shape on the walls seems to be waiting patiently for the arrival of food borne by water's soft hands. This is relaxing science. The the kind where ecosystems bloom not through speed, but through quiet constancy. A dream cut transitions you into the canyon. The world narrows, not in a harsh way, but in an intimate way. The currents feel closer here, as if you are drifting inside the throat of a breathing world. Tiny organisms swirl in patterns sculpted by the canyon's shape, slow spirals, smooth arcs, looping eddies. Each motion becomes a gentle lullaby for the eyes. The deeper you drift, the more the canyon opens again. It becomes a long, descending boulevard of soft shadows and faint glimmers. The water here is colder, but not in a way that feels empty. It feels clean, ancient, purposeful, as though you've entered a library of motion. Sediment patterns on the floor shift into complex mosaics, each ripple shaped by the steady passing of deep currents. Some ripples stretch for meters. Others cluster in small waves, like fingerprints pressed by time. The ocean keeps its history here, not in books, but in sand. A subtle glow begins to build from ahead, not warm, not cold, but neutral. A soft silver light. At first, it appears like fog. Then, as the camera drifts closer, the shapes clarify, millions of tiny shrimp and plankton blooming in the intersection of currents. They mirror the shape of a nebula in space, a drifting cloud of life illuminated by faint biolight. The currents converge here, twisting gently together in slow, spiraling columns. This vertical movement lifts nutrients upward, carrying life into mid-depth waters. The scene feels like watching a forest breathe, except that the trees are water, and the breath is centuries long. You drift upward through the spiraling bloom. Creatures pulse faintly around you, some glowing like ghostly lanterns, others transparent but shimmering in the soft gradients. Their movements steady your own breathing until it matches the slow rhythm of the water around them. Another anticipation cue settles in soft and warm. Something broader lies ahead, a transition from deep ridges into an immense mid-ocean plateau where currents spread out like unwound threads. But the story remains patient. The pace stays gentle. Every motion remains soft. You rise slowly through the swirling bloom, letting its drifting light settle into your thoughts. The ocean's choreography guides you upward, subtle and sure, and the world continues moving in quiet spirals, carrying you with it. The world opens upward into a vast, slow-moving expanse, a mid-ocean plateau where the deep dark begins to soften, and the motions of the water change character once again. The shift is subtle, like entering a new room whose air feels just slightly warmer, slightly gentler. The camera rises through a final veil of silver specks until the space widens around you into a broad plain of drifting light. The plateau is enormous, stretching farther than the eye can follow a landscape without edges. Here the currents loosen. They spread. They unfurl across the open world like threads released from a loom. The flow becomes wider, not weaker, softer, not slower, more diffused, not less purposeful. This is a place where water relaxes its grip, direction, allowing itself to wander. Just a little. A cinematic pan circles slowly around you. The water rolls in long waves of motion, so subtle you feel them more than you see them. Layers glide above one another like overlapping breaths. Each layer has its own temperature, its own density, its own softness. But they move together in harmony, an orchestra without a conductor, guided only by the physics of calm. Particles drift through the layers like drifting embers in deep twilight. Some fall gently downward, pulled by centuries of settling. Others rise slightly, where warm currents touch them. Their paths create intricate looping patterns, spirals, arcs, long diagonal drifts that look like pale handwriting in the water. A soft dissolve reveals clusters of gelatinous creatures floating just above the plateau. Their bodies glow in translucent blues and faint greens, pulsing with a rhythm that seems synchronized with the wider motion around them. Each pulse illuminates the space for a heartbeat before fading into the calm again. They hover effortlessly, letting the spreading currents keep them suspended as though resting in a cradle of invisible hands. You drift among them, moving through pockets of warmth and coolness. The changes are delicate, like walking through thin layers of mist. Temperature shifts tell stories. Hear warm signals, water from distant gyres, while cold signals the lingering breath of the deep circulation. These intersecting stories create the plateau's unique quietness, a mixture of ages, places, and journeys. A long, slow tilt of the camera brings the seafloor closer. The sand is arranged in huge, sweeping patterns, not small ripples, but great arcs and lines that stretch for hundreds of meters. These are the signatures of long-term currents etched over decades. They show where the water flows, where it pauses, where it swirls gently before continuing its path. The plateau is a map, and the ocean draws on it endlessly. The soundtrack softens into a warm resonance, a low, velvety hum, like distant wind passing through deep caverns. It settles into the body more than the ears. Every tone aligns with the widening motion of the plateau, calming the mind until thoughts begin drifting like the organisms around you. A soft anticipation glimmers at the edges of the frame. Ahead lies a phenomenon that shapes entire ocean basins, a rising column of water created by the planet's rotation. But the story holds its breath for a moment longer, letting you float inside the plateau's gentle expansion. A dream cut transitions the view higher. The plateau becomes a sky of water above you, layered and luminous. Sunlight from far, far above filters down, not as rays, but as a soft wash of diluted blue, faint, dreamlike, barely graspable. It is the first hint of the upper ocean carried down by scattering and memory. Small fish begin to appear, delicate shapes, the color of moonlight. They hover in place, with tiny fin movements so fast they blur into transparency. The currents here support them like cushions of fluid. They glide forward in brief bursts, then allow themselves to drift again. Confident, the plateau's softness will hold them. Jellies rise slowly around you, their tentacles trailing like thin threads of glass. They glow brighter here than in the deep, revealing the outlines of their bells with delicate clarity. Each movement is so smooth it barely disturbs the surrounding water. Their bodies expand and contract like calm breathing. A slow lateral drift carries you across the plateau. In the distance, the water begins to tilt upward, drawn by rotation, a broad rising spiral. It resembles a slow-motion cyclone turned inside out, not violent, not forceful, just gently ascending, carrying deep water toward brighter realms. This spiral marks the beginning of upwelling, one of the ocean's quiet miracles. Nutrients from the deep begin rising here, lifted by the soft but persistent motion. Life blooms in their wake. Plankton gather like mist. Small fish shimmer through drifting clouds of microscopic light. The water is becoming brighter, not through illumination, but through density of life. And as you drift upward with it, the plateau slowly dissolves behind you, leaving only the soft, spiraling motion of a world preparing to rise. The world begins to tilt upward in the softest way, as if an unseen hand has placed itself beneath the water and is lifting everything with infinite patience. The currents that had spread wide across the mid-ocean plateau now start to rise, gathering into a slow, spiraling ascent. The motion is subtle at first, a gentle drift, a slight upward curve, then gradually becomes unmistakable. The ocean is beginning to breathe upward. This is upwelling, but not the dramatic kind shown in textbooks. This is the kind that feels like a dream turning the page. A slow, cinematic sweep reveals the forming spiral, broad, pale, and filled with drifting specks that shimmer like dust caught in a moonbeam. The water is not brighter. It is simply becoming more alive. Nutrients carried for thousands of kilometers, held in darkness for centuries, are now rising in long, unbroken streams. They ascend like memories, resurfacing at the edge of sleep. Plankton gather instantly, as if awakened by a call they've been waiting for. Their microscopic bodies glow in faint greens and blues, turning the spiral into a galaxy of drifting light. Tiny fish circle around them, moving in delicate bursts before resting again on the rising current. Their scales catch the faint biolight and scatter it in soft flashes. You drift upward among them, carried by the same patient motion. The water warms by a degree or two, barely noticeable, yet enough to signal the beginning of the mid-water realm. Creatures here grow larger, shapes more defined. Their silhouettes drift through the blue gradient like slow-moving thoughts. A close-up reveals jellyfish trailing long, glimmering filaments that ripple behind them like threads of silk. Their bells pulse with perfect rhythm, pushing them upward as the current lifts them from below. The harmony between their motion and the water's motion feels like choreography, a dance too slow to belong to the surface world. A soft hum enters the soundscape, smooth and resonant. It vibrates in long, gentle tones that merge seamlessly with the rising water. It feels like the ocean is singing not with notes, but with movement. The pitch shifts slightly with each upward meter, as if responding to pressure and depth. The camera tilts slightly to reveal tall structures rising from the plateau. These are not mountains, not rock, not coral. They are massive columns of ascending water, visible only because of what drifts inside them. Each column glistens with tiny organisms like liquid pillars of shimmering dust. They rise quietly, shaping entire climates. Far above, a dissolve shifts your perspective to the outer edge of one column. The boundary wavers, shimmering with slight distortions. Warm and cold layers meet here, sliding over one another in thin, trembling sheets. These micro-boundaries fold and unfold with every gentle oscillation of the current. Within these layers, life blooms. Zooplankton graze softly on phytoplankton. Small fish, nearly transparent, dart through glowing clouds. A faint golden hue radiates from the sheer density of organisms, catching the weak ambient light from far above. It is not sunlight reaching here. It is the ocean's own light, created by life itself. You drift closer, passing through a region where the water feels thick with motion. Eddies form around you, slow spirals that rise like miniature whirlpools turned on their heads. In each one, life collects swirling clusters of larvae, drifting chains of salps, shimmering threads of siphonophores, trailing in long, delicate ribbons. These organisms are travelers, carried by currents shaped by water. Their journeys span oceans. They rise here because the world beneath them is rising too. A long pan reveals the scale of the upwelling now. It extends beyond sight, a slow planetary breath, lifting entire ecosystems upward. The ocean is not just moving water. It is creating life, feeding life, connecting realms. You rise with the current until the light grows faintly stronger. Still dim, still blue, but brighter than any moment before. This is the beginning of the Twilight Zone, a realm where sunlight fades into memory and the world becomes a tapestry of silhouettes. Large shapes begin to form in the distance. Schools of fish move in slow synchrony, each individual catching and reflecting hints of scattered light. They move like drifting leaves in a wind too gentle to feel turning, as one pausing as one. The soundtrack shifts into a warmer, layered hum, almost like distant chimes submerged beneath water. The tones evoke a sense of upward movement, aligning with the slow rise of the current. Your breathing naturally follows, deepening and softening. A soft dissolve brings you close to a vast sheet of plankton, illuminated from within. Their collective glow creates the appearance of a drifting cloud of stars. They stretch across the water column like a luminous fog, feeding on the nutrients delivered by the upwelling. The current pushes gently through this glowing veil, creating trails of disturbed particles that swirl behind you in delicate spirals. The trails close themselves slowly, like water, healing back into stillness. You drift upward again, passing through layers of increasing life density. Small jellyfish pulse around you, Transparent fish flicker in and out of view. Tiny shrimp-like creatures glide with soft, undulating motions. Everything moves at dream speed, unhurried fluid, weightless. Above, the water brightens further. A hazy blue radiance filters downward. Not direct sunlight, yet just its distant echo. This is the gateway into the upper twilight. The upwelling strengthens here, lifting nutrients toward light, where they will ignite explosions of life above. A soft anticipation rises. The world of true light is approaching the boundary where darkness ends and the blue glow becomes day, but the motion remains soft. The ascent remains calm. Every upward meter feels like drifting deeper into a dream rather than out of one. The ocean continues lifting you gently, preparing to reveal the world where currents breathe in color. The world begins to brighten in a way that feels less like illumination and more like awakening. The darkness gradually thins into a translucent cobalt, then into a rich, soft blue that seems to glow from within the water itself. The shift is gentle, smooth, a long exhale, turning into the first quiet breath of morning. You have reached the boundary where deep motion meets the realm of light, the blue threshold. The ascent slows naturally, as though the current itself wants you to savor this moment. You drift upward into a space filled with subtle gradients, the water shimmering with faint silver threads carried by the upwelling. Tiny organisms pulse around you in widening halos of light. Plankton bloom here, turning the water into a drifting mosaic of life. The glow is no longer just bioluminescence. It is the ocean reflecting the coming radiance. A soft cinematic pan reveals wide curtains of drifting particles rising in shimmering columns. They move like dust, illuminated in a morning bedroom, suspended, weightless, beautiful. Each particle contains stories from the deep nutrients carried upward, fragments of ancient life memory rising to meet the future. The upwelling cradles them, like the world lifting its own thoughts. The soundtrack shifts into a faint, airy resonance, higher than before, thinner, full of clarity. It feels like a gentle clearing of the mind, a quieting of the internal world. Every vibration matches the ascending brightness, as if sound and light are moving in parallel, guiding you together through the threshold. Small fish appear first, slender shapes with bodies reflecting soft silver light. They hover with minimal effort, using tiny fin movements that barely disturb the water. Their scales catch faint hints of sunlight filtering down from far above, turning them into drifting mirrors. They move in small groups, swirling gently, as if testing the boundary between darkness and brightness. A dissolve brings you closer to a school of translucent creatures, ctenophores, comb jellies, whose bodies refract the incoming light into rainbow ripples. They float like living prisms, comb rows shimmering with iridescent blues, greens, and pinks. Their motions are fluid, delicate, almost hypnotic. They drift through the rising water like quiet thoughts gliding across the surface of the mind. The camera rises slightly. The blue grows warmer, lighter, as if washed with diluted sapphire. The twilight zone is giving way to something more illuminated, more expansive. Shadows begin to soften. Edges become clearer. You drift through long, vertical sheets of marine snow, glowing with filtered light. Each piece rotates slowly as it falls past, spiraling downward, while you continue upward. The motion feels like reversed snowfall time, moving in two directions at once. Another slow pan reveals larger organisms gliding overhead. Their silhouettes are dark at first, then gradually tinted with color, shimmering blues on their backs, faint silver along their sides. Mid-water fish. Some swim alone, others in loose groups, all moving with unhurried grace. They rise to feed on the bloom created by the upwelling, their presence signaling the richness of the threshold. The current continues lifting you. Movement becomes smoother, more buoyant. The pressure of depth begins to ease, though the transition is subtle. A lightness felt in the water before it is sensed in the body. Ahead, the blue brightens further. The camera tilts upward toward the shifting ceiling of the ocean. Rays of sunlight begin to appear, faint at first, like silver lines scratched into the surface of a dream. Then stronger, longer, reaching deeper into the water. These rays are soft, diffused by kilometers of water, but they bring with them warmth and direction. Life responds instantly. Plankton rise in dense blooms, forming drifting clouds that shimmer like fog, illuminated by moonlight. Their glow is not their own anymore. It is light borrowed from the sun. The soundtrack reflects this shift, becoming lighter, more open. Gentle chimes echo through the water, as if the ocean itself is exhaling into day. A slow dissolve moves the camera through a veil of tiny organisms that sparkle in the incoming light. As you pass through the scene, becomes brighter still, as though you've stepped into the transitional moment between dawn and day. Small predators begin to appear, slender, fish gliding with elegance, squid drifting like ribbons of ink, reimagined as light, delicate siphonophores trailing long crystalline threads. They move with confidence, adapting to the clarity around them. Another anticipation cue glows softly. The upper realm awaits the sunlit world, where currents ignite entire ecosystems with color, but the ascent remains calm. Nothing rushes. Even light arrives softly here. You drift toward the last layer of the threshold. The blue grows pale. The world becomes transparent. Shapes above begin to shimmer. A soft, dappled light dances across your vision, the first sign that the surface is not impossibly far anymore. The water around you swells with life, movement, color. The upwelling brings nourishment to everything it touches. Entire food webs begin here in this moment, in this gentle lifting. You rise through the blue threshold, carried by the softest upward breath the ocean has to offer. Above you now lies the final world, the bright, drifting realm of the sunlit ocean. The water around you lightens into a soft, luminous blue, as if the ocean has opened its eyes. Shapes that were once shadows now sharpen into clarity, and the world takes on a gentle radiance that feels both new and ancient. This is the sunlit realm, not yet the surface, but close enough for sunlight to become a presence rather than a memory. The currents here are no longer hidden. They move in ribbons of color, in drifting curtains of brightness, in waves of motion you can almost feel brushing past your skin. You rise with one of these currents, a warm, upward-moving flow, shaped by the upwelling below. Its touch is gentle, like a hand lifting you through layers of soft air. The water is filled with drifting life. Schools of small fish shimmer in loose formations, their bodies catching the sun and scattering it into flashes of silver. They move with the current, not against it, trusting its path, the way migrating birds trust invisible winds. A cinematic pan widens the view. Rays of sunlight fall through the surface in long, trembling columns. Each beam bends and scatters in intricate patterns, turning the water into a slow-motion cathedral of light. Tiny bubbles drift upward in spirals, catching the beams like floating beads of glass. The world feels light, open, almost weightless. A dissolve draws you toward a bloom of plankton, glowing soft green in the sunlight. They swirl in pools of brightness, creating patches of color, like watercolor, spreading on wet paper. Larger fish move through them in calm, sweeping arcs. Their presence sends ripples through the bloom, but nothing scatters violently. Everything moves with respect for the softness of the moment. The soundtrack becomes clearer now. Faint chimes, airy tones, a sense of spaciousness. The deep hum of the abyss has faded, replaced by the lightness of a world nearer to the sky. The ocean sounds like morning here. You drift through columns of light that flicker as waves pass above. Each flicker feels like a heartbeat. Each pulse feels like the rhythm of something alive, not just the water, but the entire system. The ocean is no longer just a realm of motion. It is a realm of light shaping life. A soft upward tilt brings the surface closer. Its underside ripples like liquid glass, shimmering with every touch of wind. The patterns are mesmerizing, shifting mosaics of brightness that weave and unweave themselves in seconds. These are the signatures of waves, swells, breezes the sky speaking into water. Beneath this shimmering ceiling, the currents form complex pathways. Some flow horizontally, carrying warmth across vast distances. Some sink gently after losing heat. Some rise where deep upwellings reach the sunlit world. Together, they create a slow choreography, a planetary ballet where every movement affects life on scales too great to fathom. A small school of anchovies darts by their bodies, flashing like a handful of mirrors thrown into sunlight. They turn sharply as one following the contours of the current. A larger shape follows them, a gentle predator, gliding with calm confidence, its body cutting through the water like a blade made of blue light. It, too, rides the current, letting it guide direction, even as it hunts. A dream cut shifts the frame to a vast open field of drifting life. Millions of plankton move in shimmering clouds, forming patterns that look like shifting constellations. The currents shape these clouds into swirls and ribbons, each movement gentle, each formation temporary. Watching them feels like watching the wind paint shapes across a meadow. You drift through these drifting constellations, feeling the hush of the ocean settle over you like a thin blanket. The water is warm, calm, tender. The sunlight is softened by depth, filtered into pale gold and powder blue. Up ahead, the current meets the edge of a shallow reef. Here, colors burst into brilliance. Coral formations rise like sculptures, carved from living stone. Fish move through them in bright streaks of yellow, red, blue, and violet colors. Deep water never reveals. The current flows through the reef's passageways, bringing food and freshness, carrying away debris, nurturing life with every gentle shift. A slow sweeping pan reveals gardens of soft coral, swaying with the motion. Their branches move like fields of grass, breathing in wind. Tiny creatures hide among them. Shrimp crabs, small darting fish, emerging only when the current brings what they need. Everything here is alive because the ocean moves, because the water drifts softly, endlessly, because motion is the language of survival. A dissolve brings you back into open water, rising slowly toward the bright ceiling. Above, the sun breaks through in radiant streaks. You feel the warmth increasing, not in heat, but in color. The current slows. It releases you gently, as if offering you back to the world of air and sky. You pause just below the surface. The world is quiet. The movements are delicate. The light dances. The current hums softly around you. And in this suspended moment, you feel the truth the ocean has been whispering since the first descent. The softest movements shape everything. The quietest forces carry the farthest. The gentle currents hold the world together. You breathe or imagine breathing, and the ocean breathes with you. A final upward drift takes you to the shimmering boundary between water and light. The surface folds into brilliance, waves bending sunlight into silver ribbons. The ocean continues its soft choreography, endless and patient, asking nothing but your presence in this quiet moment of drifting blue. Rest now inside the ocean's whisper. Its movements will carry you the rest of the way.